Hi again and welcome to some more 9-ball action from the 2024 Derby City Classic. Our next match is a round 6 clash between Styer and Pijus Labutis. Both players have 0 losses up to now, so it's a winner's round match. Now joining me in the booth, and it's always a little bit chilly when this man's around, but for all the right reasons, of course, it's Mr. Scott Frost. Hello, Scott.
Hi, Mark. How are you? Thanks for having me. Excited for this match, my friend. Both of these players are 2 of my favorite in the game of rotation.
Yeah, Pijus he's made a lot of waves, hasn't he, recently? I had him on another game just a few days ago, and he was struggling just a little bit against one of your own, Johnny Archer. It was quite a slow game, and he's one of them players, Scott, who sometimes just maybe overthinks the game a little too much. He's so talented, a great potter, but sometimes just gets bogged down in the odd little safety battle here and there.
Yeah, I see that, but I also think that's probably one of his strengths as well. I think he's a very tactical, but at the same time, natural player. So I could see that happening. I could definitely see that happening.
So race to 9, winner's option to breaking from the box. Styer, the man from Oshkosh. Here we go. Straight away makes the one in the side. I'm going to leave it to Mr. Frost to scan his very, very experienced eyes over this table. What do you see here?
Yeah, well, that is the goal, right, Mark, is to pot the one in the middle. Here, from this angle, it looks like he might be able to see a piece of this. I don't know that he can make it, though.
Yeah, not really an aggressive safety.
No, I agree. Might have to roll out. You want to explain the rollout to the people at home?
Well, I was hoping you weren't going to ask me that, but of course I will. After the break, the player that made a ball on the break, or the incoming player, has the choice to play what we call a push out. So you can literally do what it says on the tin. You can push out to anywhere you like. You can hit any ball. You don't have to hit a rail. You can make any ball you want, unless it's the 9, of course. That will be respotted. And there you see he's just pushed, leaving him just a little piece of it. Now Pijus coming in. If he doesn't like this is the rub, isn't it? With the push out shot. If your opponent doesn't like it, he can give it back to you. So you've got to be... a lot of people, Scott, don't give this shot enough respect. You know, it's quite an important shot, isn't it?
Yeah, I totally agree. It's probably the most important shot after the break if you don't have a shot at the object ball. And in this particular position, especially coming out of the chair, if I'm Labutis, I would consider passing this back, because I think the thin hit to the right side of this ball is extremely difficult. Maybe he can catch it fuller than I am seeing. Yeah, well done, Mark. Pretty well done.
Yeah, and deserved that nice little flick as well. I think he was going to get it rather safe anyway. It's a little bonus, isn't it? Just nudging in off the 8 behind the 9 ball. He's got the... Would you go one rail straight at this, or try and flick it in, or get behind it? What's the plan here, Scott?
Well, it looks like he's going to elevate, so he's probably swerving one rail to it. It's a big ball to scratch off of. You could easily catch that back rail, and I think that's what he's evaluating right now. The 4 is obviously a little tricky. I think a good hit here, Mark, holds quite a bit of value. I don't know that you need to hit it with a lot of pace. If he just makes contact due to where the 4 is, things could still be tough for Labutis.
He's looking coming 2 rails, isn't he, behind the 8 ball here. He could scratch off this to the back or the front, whichever way he chose to go. There's a scratch on both ways, isn't there? But he's caught that very nicely. Well, could have been worse, Mr. Frost.
Yeah, it definitely could have been worse, and you're right. He could have scratched off the front of that. That's neither here nor there. Made a nice hit, and Labutis has work to do He could play a defensive shot and just clip the left side of this 2, put him down here below this pack of balls.
Now, one thing I have noticed about Pijus's game, if he does, I think you kind of mentioned it at the start, he's very, very experienced for his age in the safety game, and not just playing good safeties, but also kicking. He was kicking very, very well the last match I saw him in.
Yeah, definitely. That's something I noticed in really watching him play, because he was a new player to me. He thinks very well for his age. And I think that, well, like you said, I think that that's also going to be a detriment to himself, because his IQ is so high that he might talk himself out of a few situations here and there. Maturity will obviously improve those situations.
Oh, that was so close to hitting that 2 ball there. And it's probably a good time to remind viewers, actually, that there's no jump cues allowed, because normally I think you would have seen Tyler go for the short stick there and maybe jump to that 2 ball over the 9. But in the Derby City Classic, of course, it's got its little quirks where jump cues are not allowed, but you are allowed to jump with your full playing cue. But obviously it's a very tough shot to play with a playing cue, so that's why you're going to see more kicking than you might normally see in a match.
Yeah, Mark, my question to you is, what do you think of the jump cue? I do like it, but I'm just, there's tournaments with these top players where it seems like they're using it 2, 3, 4 times per game sometimes, and they're so good at it. I just wonder if limiting the jump cue in some of these major events, maybe once a game, might help things, or what's your opinion on that?
Well, I'm of the older generation, so if anything, people might think I'd kind of be against it. Just given my age, I didn't really grow up with jump cues. They weren't kind of a thing. You learnt to kick and that was it. And I'm a snooker player, so we don't have the jump shot anyway. But having said that, I believe, look, in pool, there's so many different facets to being a great player. You need a good break. You need good safety. You need bottle, as we call it. You need that ability to be able to play under pressure. And then another, such an important facet, and you can see the guys that practice it the most. You've got your Feder Gorsh, your Jesus Asensio. There's a few good players now who are so good with the jump cue, but they're putting the time in. So,
yeah,
I think it's a good shot to have in. It's just another string to your bow. And if you can't do it, then, well, that's your problem. That's on you.
Okay, I like that. I like it. And Labutis making this look pretty routine, isn't he?
Yeah, he may be just going to run this through, 7 ball into the same pocket, maybe. Such a nice cueist.
Yeah, and where is he from, Mark, if you don't mind refreshing my memory?
He's from a capital city is Vilnius. Now, shall I give you a little quiz, or shall I just tell you the country, or shall I leave you
please
hanging?
don't quiz me. Please don't quiz me. Just let us know.
Well, hang on a minute. This is a two-way street, my friend. You just quizzed me. He's from he's from Lithuania.
Okay, thank
a
you.
Baltic state.
Okay.
Between Latvia and Estonia, that kind of way.
Got it.
So, first rack then to the Lithuanian. There you see. And this video is bought in cooperation with those bad boys there. Look, there's 2 of them. One's stolen the ball, the other one's walked away with a cue. It's like what we used to do at school. Well, it's my ball and I don't like it and I'm going home. And the man with the cue there is walking off in the other direction. Bad boys they are. Thanks, guys.
Yes, they are.
it wasn't for guys like that, Scott, we wouldn't be here. Yeah,
That's exactly right. Looking at the Fargo rating, these two couldn't get much closer. I do feel like Pijus is probably a little bit younger, might have a little bit more of a stretch to him as far as his potential. It seems like Tyler's still improving, but plateaued a little bit. Don't get me wrong. Tyler playing very consistent pool these days. It'll be interesting to see where Labutis ends up in the next decade.
Yeah, I second that. Let's see his break then. This will be his first break. It is winner break or winner's break option.
Yeah, very fortunate he didn't get the scratch. You got to kiss off the 5. The 1 is tough. Wasn't thrilled that he didn't get the 1 down either, Mark. And Styer has a lot of distance here. He's got some options.
Yeah, I fancy sending the 1 past the 7 here. And just going back to the break for a second, Scott. The last match I commentated on with Pijus, Labutis, it was against Johnny Archer. And Pijus really did struggle with the break. I think he only made the 1 ball on about 2 occasions. It was very, well, there was a drought of break and runs as well. So he did struggle with the break. So let's see how that pans out in this match.
Yeah, that's good to know. Notice there that the 6 gets in front of the purple 4. I'm pretty certain that Pijus is going to stay aggressive here and attack to the top right with the 1. Notice the 2 laying up real nice to the top left.
Yeah, just go around the back of the 2 here, can't it? He's not even playing it. Didn't go aggressive.
Yeah.
And that's what I was talking about before, Scott. You know, I think that's a ball he's well capable of making.
Absolutely. I fully agree. I'm actually really surprised there, and that's kind of to your point. And maybe I haven't seen him play enough. I'm very surprised he didn't shoot at that, especially with this layout. He's got to be a favorite to make that 1. And I can promise you, Tyler Styer likes what he saw there.
I always think also that it gives your opponent a little bit more confidence. If you see they're not going for them shots, you're thinking, okay then.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And the safety, I think, Mark, back on that 1 was just as tough as the offensive play. And you've got to wonder maybe what's going through his mind. Maybe just isn't settled in. But like you said, I promise you that Tyler Styer got a little jolt from that decision.
When we're not playing with a shot clock either, and I'm a huge believer, I love the shot clock. I think it does so much good for pool. And I think not having one does so much bad for the players because you see them second guessing themselves, taking too much time, getting bogged down in, overthinking too much. And I really believe that the man at the table now is a victim of that, Well, he's had a little jelly roll there.
Yeah, and I couldn't agree more. The shot clock can definitely damage a tactical player, whereas if they do have the shot clock, which I'm a proponent of, they're going to go with their first instinct typically, and that's typically what you're supposed to do in this game. So I can't agree more with that.
I've always gone with my initial instincts on most things I've done, Scott, and it's worked out pretty well for me up to now. Apart from with girlfriends, that's always been my sticking point. Maybe I need a shot clock on my girlfriend picking.
Yeah, I get it, my friend. I get it. Yeah, so looking here, I think he's got a good kick and stick behind this ball, and he can at least create distance. But once again, I don't want to harp on it, But the one ball that he had, I really feel like he's got to be questioning himself on that decision. I don't know that you're going to get a better opportunity than what he had in the beginning of this game.
Yeah, and it's the old story, isn't it? I mean, now he didn't play the shot well, the safety shot. He left Tyler a really good chance to hook him, which he did. Okay, he got out of it, but he's still on his back foot here, and this rack could have been over by now had he have gone for that one ball. He's 2-0 up, sailing, breaking to go 3 up, and now we're bogged down.
Exactly.
And it really is a repeat of his first round match against Johnny Archer.
Yeah, exactly. Fully agree.
So Tyler going at this one.
Yeah, he's probably just going to use a little check side, just a little inside. Well, he does like to stretch it out, Mark. He likes to hit the ball with pace a lot of times, and he's one of the more accurate ones with that pace, whereas a guy with a little different style at this level will check that ball with a little inside and roll it. Styer, he likes to muscle that ball.
I'm glad you brought that up, because my next comment was about to be how I love Tyler Styer's technique. Everyone knows that he went to the great Johan Racing a few years back. He showed a lot of promise. I believe he cues as well as Fedor Gorst. Okay, he may not have the other attributes that Fedor has, but he certainly cues very, very beautifully. He's got that nice flowing long stroke. He does use the elbow drop on those power shots, and he does get a lot of power with smoothness, which is, I love the way he plays the game. I really do.
Yeah, I can't deny or disagree with anything you just said. You can tell that he came from the Johan Rusnik school, who is also somebody that I look highly, highly upon. I've built a little bit of a relationship with Johan. And I also agree with what you said about Tyler and Fedor Gorst as far as that comparison. I think that you are right on the money there. His fundamentals, speaking of Tyler, are very, very good.
I'm really surprised that he hasn't won more. It's got to be something in his head. I know he's a big reader, and I can't remember the name of the book at the moment that I know he reads religiously, and he's set his life out in a certain way. He's a settled young man. He's married to Margaret, of course, Margaret Fefilova Styer. They're both very much on the clean living, the good health, the go to the gymnasium, do lots of practice. And the way he lives his life, I'm just so surprised that he's only ever won. It was actually a cup it was the Kremlin Cup, wasn't it, back in Russia in 2018, 19, something like that. And I thought he was going to push on from there, but it just hasn't happened. I think he's 28 years old now, and I don't know what it is with him. It can only be something in his head.
Yeah, that's exactly right. And when he did win that Kremlin Cup, it was almost like it was kind of like unexpected. He quietly did it, but he did it with style. He did win the Texas Open. I believe it was the year before last. And the field in that event was huge as well. We talk about it in the States with Tyler, and Tyler's a friend of mine. It's definitely got to be a mental thing. And I still look for him to overcome that, because there's nothing else stopping this young man.
100%. So a chance here then to get his name on the scoreboard. He may not have done it with Styer, but these are the racks sometimes, Scott, aren't they, that you just got to win. You've got to win those messy ones. You've got to win ugly sometimes, as they say.
Yeah, absolutely. And we could once again go back to the opportunity Labutis had and possibly gave up, and you've got to feel like Styer deserved this game. It'll be interesting to see Pijus's decisions going forward, but I think he needs to attack a little bit more.
Thanks very much to Hustling, not just for the great clothing, of course, but for sponsoring this stream. Also, JB Cases, Mr. John Barton there, and Olivier Hughes. I wouldn't mind getting my hands on one of them. And of course, you need a nice light to play under, don't you? Get a Lippmann light. And Locked and Loaded, they'll sort you out as well. If it's a little bit chilly, go and get yourself a hoodie or something. Thanks to all those guys. That's what enables us to bring you all this great action free all the time on Railbirds TV. And it gives us the chance, doesn't it, to get people like Scott Frost in the booth with us. What a wealth of knowledge in that brain there.
Yeah, and you want to talk about a wealth of knowledge in the brain. This young man and his break, boy, I don't know that there's a world-class player on the planet that wouldn't like to have his break. And of course, Mark, as soon as I say that, we all know what happens.
But there's only one player that wants Tyler Styer to have that break at the moment, and that's the man coming to the table, Pijus Labutis, because he's perfect in on this one ball. It's a dry one, and you rightly say, there's no one that puts more effort into practice, and especially the break, as you said, in my eyes, in the top 3 breakers in the world, I would say, for sure.
Yeah, there's no doubt. It looked like he took some speed off of that, and he isn't afraid of experimenting during the match, right? So I would assume he might pick up the pace on the break a little bit going forward. I think the 3 plays in the lower left here, Mark, it looks like it does. So the only trouble could be the 5, the 4-7, obviously looming as well. Yeah,
good thing about the 5, though. Well, he's got the 4 to contend with, hasn't he? Having said that, but that's no problem for the combo. So it is over the right side of the table to get on that 5 and won't have too much to do with the cue ball. Scott with the 6 in the position it's in. So it's a good opportunity. It's a little bit funny, though, on the 3.
Yeah, Mark. I thought the 3 passed in the lower left, and you've got to wonder, is he actually looking at a missed opportunity there? I'm wondering if he's looking to see if the 3 passed. I don't believe he would have gone to where he is now if it did. He's got a little work to do. Yeah, pretty quick there in that final swing, right? Looked like he was a little snatchy in that final stroke.
Yeah, just hurried it, didn't he? The cue was going too fast by the time the tip got to the cue ball. You want to be accelerating through.
Yeah, things are a little tricky here. Tyler might want to bank the 3 somewhere in the direction of the 9 and maybe use the 6 as cover. Can't quite tell the angle he's got, but he'd like to get cover on either the 8 or the 6, I believe. Yeah, he's going to use the 6. Well, he's fluked it, Mark.
And he got nowhere near, did he, with the safety? The cue ball was nowhere near where he intended it. And who knows where that 3 might have gone if it didn't go in the pocket. So it's a little bit of a roll there. And he has got this. Let's have a look and see where this 3 might have gone. It could have easily hit the bump, Scott, and stayed, couldn't it?
Yeah, like you said, he didn't get anywhere near he wanted to be either. So he did want to get under the green 6. So a little tester coming up with this combination. Wow, he's hit it good, Mark, but he's not left with anything sweet, is he?
No, just misjudged the 4 there slightly, but I just watching his cue action there. Complete contrast to the last shot we saw from Pijus Labutis. Such a nice, smooth, slow backswing, the slight pause, and then just stroking through the ball. Just a beautiful stroke that was. I love watching this guy. I really do.
Yeah, and you're not alone. Typically, when Tyler makes a mistake, it's not because of quick cue action. It's probably just an inaccurate lineup, or maybe just a little bit of an inaccuracy on the cue ball. But his cue movement is as good as it gets.
I honestly think, if you want me to put it out there, I honestly think that Tyler has spent so much time on his technique and getting that cue action perfect, which it is. And you're right, he rarely misses, because do you know what? I actually can't remember seeing Tyler Styer put in a quick stroke. I honestly, there's not one that jumps out at me. It's always, as you say, either not a good cue ball, and sometimes he's been criticised as well for not necessarily playing the correct shot. So maybe just needs to work on strategy a little bit more. Rather, his technique is there now. Okay, still keep it up to date. Don't let that get rusty. But you need to start concentrating on other assets of other aspects of the game.
Yeah, your knowledge of the player is pretty impressive. So that's one thing, and I don't mind saying it. Tyler and I are friends, but his shot selection, as far as his pattern play, at times can be a bit questionable, and that might be one of his downfalls, is his pattern play. And it's hard for a guy like me to even say that, because he plays better than I do. But maybe, like you say, just moving forward, he's got all the tools. Look at this shot.
Yeah, really caught that well, didn't he? Sliding in off the new cloth. Okay, caught the point, but he's got a beautiful cross-side bank here. I'm sure you'd be playing this, Scott. If it was at the banks, you'd be playing this into the side, wouldn't you?
Yeah, and I don't understand what he's thinking about, right? He's standing there with his hand on his mouth, and I'm calling it like I see it, like, just go on with it, right? This is a cross-side play. You've got to stay aggressive. You made a great shot on the 4. You've got to stay aggressive here.
It's just another example of what I think is, we've been talking about Tyler. Well, let's talk about Pijus, and it goes back to that thing. Just get down and play the goddamn shot. It's a potting game. Let's play the shots, right?
Yes, and he has the ability, right? So it's something that I maybe overlooked before, but I'm seeing it now. What I did notice about his game is he is very, very tactically inclined, very good IQ. But I'm noticing everything about it now that you mention it, and it's kind of troublesome, to be honest. Like here, you're just drawing out one rail for the 8 in the top left. I mean, it just anywhere in the center of the table here for the 8. Now in the top right corner, I don't think this is an issue. Just like so, right?
Yeah, and look, he's ended up by not playing a very good shot, to be honest, because now he's okay, he can reach it, but he's not got the ideal angle. He's a little bit awkward over this 9 ball, look, and this can affect the shot now. He's tried to get too perfect on it. Just get down and make the ball. You see, now here we go again. Here's another problem that he's caused there from thinking too much. And I don't want to sound, I don't want to put the guy down, because I've got a lot of respect for him. And he's a very good player, but he's beating himself sometimes.
Yeah, I agree. And it's something I didn't really notice, and definitely don't want to harp on it, because he's such a natural player as well. He's got everything. So maybe this will help him. Maybe he'll take the advice. But sometimes, Mark, when you've got such a high IQ, we've talked about it, it can get the best of you at times.
Yeah. Thank you very much to the main event sponsors as well, diamond makers of, well, the best tables in the world, aren't they? They've given us about 30 of them here at the Derby City. And of course, a table is nothing without a beautiful cloth on it. They don't come any better than Simone's, of course. And well, if you've got a cloth and a table like that, you need the right balls, don't you? Aramith, 100 years old this year. AccuStats videos, thank you so much, guys, for all you do. Masters Chalk, the leader as well in the United States. And well, when you've got all that, Scott, you need to rack the balls with something. You need the AccuRack from Outsville. That keeps them nice and tight. Back to the action then. 2-1 Pijus Labutis. He will be breaking. With me in the booth, Scott Frost.
Yeah, I appreciate you having me, Mark. Interesting dynamic between these two players. I feel like they're very similar in a lot of ways, but also very different. I don't know how I can explain that. I think they both go through the ball very well, but for Pius to be at his age and really have the tactical presence that he has is a great thing, but also could be one of his biggest detriments from what I see.
Yeah, and I don't want it to sound like, I'm beating up on the guy or anything, because just like yourself, I think he's a great talent, and I'm trying to, maybe if he does watch this, I'm not saying take advice, but maybe it just puts a thought in someone's mind. Yeah, he's right. Why didn't I just do what Scott said? Just get down and make the 7 ball. What am I thinking about? And hopefully, these little things that we say every now and then can maybe just kickstart some little thought in the players, because it's not something that you always see yourself when you're playing.
Well, it's a great point. I know when I watch videos of commentary and I'm involved in playing, I've learned a lot. And because I play so much one pocket, when I play rotation pool, the biggest thing I tell myself is to carry on with it, because it's so easy for me to get in this rhythm that's completely off, and my game suffers from that. Rotation pool isn't rocket science, and I think it's a flowing game, which there's a fine line, but I think it will help him.
Yeah, it's the game, isn't it, where you follow it. It's potting by numbers, basically. And this is probably a good time to mention we are playing 3 foul rule as well.
Yeah, he's done a good job here, I think, Mark. I think he's got him welded to the back of the 7.
Yeah, so here's a point now. You asked me, do I believe in jump cues? Or do I think they're a good thing? Well, there's a perfect example where I think they are, and it can also improve your opponent's safety shots as well, because if you're up against Fedor Gorst, just getting 6 inches behind a ball isn't good enough. You've got to weld him behind that ball so he can't get the jump stick out.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a great point. It really does make you tighten the safety game up quite a bit more, especially with this ability of the likes of Fedor Gorst and Jesus Atencio, etc. Tyler, I guess looking to go 2 rails here just below the right middle.
Looks tight. He's burying the cue ball into the rail here to straighten it up a bit as well. Yeah, that was a tough ask. So he's got him on a foul. 2 fouls, actually. It was a scratch, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's correct. He kicked it to 1 and followed it in. So he's on 2, but this is that situation, right? Where I think the way these balls lay, Mark, I don't know what your thought is, but I think you just carry on, right? And if you don't land good on the 4, then maybe look at the defensive play, but they're all pretty open.
Yeah, good call. 3 is maybe the awkward ball here, but he's got ball in hand on the 2, so that's no problem whatsoever. You say, 3 to the 4 is the shot, isn't it? But it does go into the side pocket. He looks like he's going defensive, though, playing behind the 5, maybe. He's thinking of that, Scott.
Yeah, I just wonder if you can get yourself in trouble doing that. If you don't completely weld Tyler up and allow him to kick the ball, typically these world-class players don't want to relinquish ball in hand, right, when the table's open. If there was another ball by the 2 that he could just really weld Tyler up to, it makes a little bit more sense, but everything's kind of out in the open, should I say. Maybe he can weld him to the back of the 3 using that right long rail, chipping the 2 up towards the 8, and I think that's what he's looking at.
Yeah, that's a nice call, that, actually. You're guaranteed to at least get a good safety, even if you don't get a really good hook. And he is going in behind the 3. But for me, it's a little bit worrying once again because he's been thinking about this for some time and he's come out with the decision, I'm going defensive again. And this isn't too difficult, is it? And he could make this. There's a possibility he makes this 2-ball and runs the table.
Right, and I fully agree. I don't know if Tyler can actually, if he can swerve enough to the 2. If he can make it, like you say. So my whole point to that was that I think Pijus was probably a favorite to run out there, but it looks like he's got Tyler cut off from the 1 rail towards the 2. Therefore, Tyler could be in some trouble here, Mark.
Yeah, I thought he could get to the 1 rail kick, maybe, hit the 2nd rail as well and just flick off it. But perhaps he can't. He would have played it already, I think, if he could.
Yeah, so well executed by Labutis. This is a very, very tall ask here, being on 2 fouls. I don't even see the path. I don't quite know what he's looking at. He's looking to go 3 rails above the 6.
He is. He needs to come the other side of it, doesn't he? He needs to come to the left of the 6 as we look. Yeah, he's looking at going the other way. This side of the 6.
Yeah, so looking to come between the 4 and 7, I think, Mark.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, a little frustration there, right?
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know what to say about that. That's you don't want to be doing things like that. Anything can happen.
And I think it was a pretty good safety play by Pijus. Made a nice play there, and probably the right decision. It won him the game.
Yeah, got him on the fouls. So you can't put him for that, can you? It's turned out to be the right decision. And he does lead 3-1.
Yeah, looking to get the 1 down here. Struggled with this a little bit.
Oh, he's made the wing ball this time. 1 ball did go short again, Scott.
And he's going to be forced to attack here. He's got to attack here. He's not going to play safe this time, Mark, I'm sure. And if he gets it down, he should have a decent shot on the 3.
Eight ball is the obvious, maybe, obstacle, but shouldn't be too much problem, should it, for a man of his caliber?
Yeah, I agree. This is the shot here. Probably just a straight top ball, medium pace. He doesn't want to catch the 5, Mark.
Yeah, needed a bit of left-hand spin on it, maybe, to bring it around the 5 ball, Scott.
Yeah, either left or right, one of the 2. He could have checked it up as well and come between the 5 and 6, but left was probably more natural. And he's faced, once again, with something he wasn't planning on.
Okay, a little bit unfortunate, you could say. On another day, it might just flick off a bit thicker or thinner, and he's got a decent shot on the 3 ball, but not today.
And you got to wonder here: is he actually looking to play this ball in the lower left? Really putting some effort into it. And this kind of goes back to you mentioning the shot clock. I think he naturally already knows where he wants to hit, but really taking his time in this situation. I guess all you can do is hope to make real good contact, probably with a center ball, right? That way you get the most accuracy off this cushion.
Yeah, taking the guesswork out of it, really, aren't you? If you're not playing it with side, or he's had a little bit of, well, I thought he was going to fluke it maybe, but he hasn't. Once again, Scott, it's an opportunity gone begging.
Yeah, does he shoot here? Does he shoot at his pocket? I think he does cut at this ball. I couldn't fault him going up and down. It's a little bit of work to do with the 4 where it's at and the 8, like you said. I couldn't fault him for shooting it, though.
Could go the other route, could go... No, he's going safety.
I guess I've got to say what's on my mind, and these guys shoot so well. We're playing on 4.5-inch pockets. They're very forgiving. We're on pretty new cloth, and I favor Tyler to chip that ball in with maybe a center pinch of right or a pinch of inside and just come up and down. Nothing wrong with his decision. I just think that he could have handled that offensively without a big amount of trouble. Maybe I'm not seeing it correctly.
He was trying to get in behind the 4, and that was very difficult from where the 3 was. You see he's finished quite a way short from the 4 ball. He's clattered into the 5 with 3, so the accuracy isn't there just at the moment. Both players struggling, Scott.
Yeah.
He's made a mess of this one as well.
They've kind of gotten into this like little mode, I feel like, where both players are kind of feeding off of each other, kind of in a tactical way. And maybe it's set the pace from the very beginning when Pijus passed up that 1 and went defensively. They're both playing real tentative, in my opinion.
In his previous match, I keep mentioning it, against Johnny Archer, he wasn't making a ball. It was nip and tuck, nip and tuck, 1-1, 2-2, 3-3, 4-3 to Pijus, and then he had a lucky golden break, which kind of then set him on a bit of a roll, you know. He then made the 1 off the break straight after it, and then I think he went into like a 7-3 lead or something like that. Maybe just needs a little spark of inspiration to get him going. You know, as you say, they're both kind of in this rut at the moment that they can't get out of.
Yeah, I agree, and that could change with one great offensive shot. It just seems like they're both kind of feeding off of each other at the moment, and I definitely know how that works. He is really measuring things up here, right, Mark? Like really spending a lot of time looking at kicking this.
Well, you're just reiterating the words I used when I was commentating before on his match. It's exactly a carbon copy, but fair play to him. He's played an absolutely great shot there, although has it gone a little bit far? Well, he's got to have a go at this, hasn't he, Scott?
I don't know at this point. I would be hesitant to say he is, because they've proved me wrong a couple times, but what a great hit by Pijus there. He did play that. Hit it quite well. I just don't know how this carries position if he does go at it.
Cut it to the top left, some right hand spin, swing it round. He might even go into the 4 here. What do you reckon, Scott? There, I'm going to stick my neck out.
Well, I think you were obviously right, and he possibly played it two ways. I love the pace that he played it at. I can't believe he held that ball up as much as he did. I thought, like you said, he might actually go into the 4, and he probably would have if he'd have made it.
Yeah, he got a little tap on the table there from Pijus Labutis. In appreciation, I think he knows the way he played that shot. He played it pretty well, as you say. And he has got him, I think, hasn't he, behind the 8? May have a little bit. Can jump the edge of the 8, of course, with the playing cue. That's another possibility.
Yeah, it really doesn't look like he's got him even half ball snookered to me. I feel like he can even swerve this at worst.
You're right.
Well, there's a good example of his abilities. When he just gets down on the ball, he executes so well from what I've seen of him.
Yeah, he didn't look at any other shot then, did he? He knew what he was going to play and didn't bother looking at anything else. But now again, once again, he's pointing to the rails and doing his little measuring system. He knows how to get to this 5. There's no doubt about that. 2 rails.
Yeah, I like it.
Round it goes, centre of the table, perfect.
Yeah, what do you do here, Mark? Do you play the 6-9 combination?
Yeah, you've got to mind the scratch, haven't you, if you're coming to get on the 6, coming across the table. The 7 is making it a big pocket in the side. If you can get on the 6, I prefer to get on the 6. He's also got a possibility of the 6-7 combo. How does he feel? Looks like he's going around to play position on this.
Yeah, I think you're right with the 6-7 combination. At least he had a good look at it. This is going to be, well, I think he's changed his mind now.
I like the way he's played this. Okay, he may not have played it well enough. I think he was playing for the 6-7, Scott, wasn't he?
Yeah, it looks like it.
Well, he could play a carom on the 7 here, could he? Is that too risky, Scott?
No, it looks pretty good. I think the carom looks nice, but this is one of those situations, if you're not at the table, it's hard to tell. If he does play the carom, he's got to hit it easy.
Yeah, he's got a nice angle as well on this 6 ball, just to drop in behind the 8. Just kind of 6 inches to a foot off the rail. Could even draw it across, a nice soft draw. Looks like he's rolling it in though. Just drop it in. Yeah, he stole a bit on the pocket as well, Scott, didn't he? Straightened the angle slightly.
Yeah, it's a good call. This is probably the toughest shot in the rack here. A lot of times these guys will allow that side pocket to bother you a little bit, but it's not frozen, so it is going to be easier.
Well, how many times do we see a player catch the point of the pocket on those shots? Normally when it's on the rail, but as you said, it was slightly off the rail. That's very surprising for me.
Yeah, and he just, to me, it feels like his timing is off a little bit, right? Some shots he's taking realistically 30 to 45 seconds, and other shots he's taking 10 to 15 seconds, and it just feels like his entire rhythm, his pace, timing just quite isn't there.
Oh, look, Tyler Styer's going all Filipino on us. He's wiping towards the pocket here.
Yeah, I expect him to come with a good shot here. This is similar to that ball earlier that I thought he might cut. I think it was the 5. Really here, putting all the focus into knocking this ball down. He's caught it a bit thick.
Oof.
So this shot is a test of your fundamentals, right? And if you go through the cue well and your aim point is accurate, your acceleration is consistent, this ball can go. If anybody's shooting it, I wouldn't mind the man at the table to shoot it.
There's one other player I wouldn't mind shooting this for me. Hunter
Filler?
Lombardo. No, well, yes, but also Hunter Lombardo. Whenever you see him at a tournament, he's always practicing this shot. He'll practice it for hours. The man's obsessed with this shot. Hunter.
Is that right? I did not know that, but I believe it. He's got the ability.
Yeah, but as you rightly say, there's no one. Maybe him and Feder Gorst. And don't forget, of course, Josh and Jason Shaw even as well in this situation. This is kind of right up their Strasser, so to speak.
Yeah, it's a big shot for Styer here, trailing 3-1, right?
Head still, Scott, head still. Just like that.
Wow.
Well, he's going to take a quick time out, and we're going to do exactly the same. Scott Frost and myself, Mark White, will be back with rack number 6 very, very shortly. Welcome back to the 2024 Derby City Classic. Always a great time of year, isn't it? The Derby City. Lots of stuff going on. One Pocket, Bank Pool, the 10-foot Bigfoot, and of course the Blue Ribbon event, the 9-ball. This is round 6 action between Tyler Styer and Pijus Labutis. It's been a little bit of a war of attrition up to now. No player really got the break going. There's been lots of safety, lots of self-doubt. There's no doubt, though, the man in the booth with me, Mr. Scott Frost, he's got all the answers. Hello, Scott.
Yeah, I wish I had all the answers. Thank you very much, Mark. But I can tell you, Tyler has finished that last game very well with a good 9-ball. It just seems like these guys are playing in the finals of the Olympics or something. They're really, really slaving kind of over every game, kind of passing up some offensive plays that I thought they might take on, and instead kind of feeding off each other's energy, it feels like.
It feels to me almost like they're frightened of each other. They're kind of giving each other too much respect. I hope that comes over correctly. But, you mentioned earlier on about these two players being quite like each other, like they're both at a similar stage in their career, you could say, even though Tyler's a lot older and he has won a big tournament. But Pijus also has been, I believe he got to a semi-final, didn't he? I think it was with the European Open or the Spanish Open, one of those events. And I just think if he is going to win a big tournament, he needs to be a little bit more aggressive. This is round 6. This isn't round 1 where you're maybe feeling a little bit tentative. You're getting used to the table and the surroundings. 6, you should be in stroke by now. You should be playing some of your best pool. The only thing I can put it down to, they both haven't had a loss yet. And we all know what it's like, the Derby City. If you go through that one loss, or it's not actually a one loss side though, is it? Because it's a buyback and a redraw. So I can't even use that as an excuse. I'm out of ideas, Scott. I'm sorry.
Yeah, I what kind of boggles me is I have watched both these guys play a lot, and Tyler's not a slow player by any means. I think it goes back to what you mentioned with the shot clock as well. When you start to get into a rut without a shot clock, it can really just kind of compile on you, especially if your opponent's following suit. So maybe they're just both kind of in a bit of a fog with each other, because I feel like both players are not slow players, but it's just one of those matches so far where they're just kind of feeding off each other and really giving each other maybe just a fraction too much respect.
I think what we're going to see is if we can get a break and run now from Tyler Styer, that will kind of rub off on Pijus as well, and we hopefully will then see both these players doing what they do best: good attacking potting.
Yeah, I agree, Mark. And Tyler, last he broke, it seemed to me like he didn't break quite as hard as he likes with this style of break. I wonder if he'll pick the miles per hour up just a fraction. It's going to be interesting. Well, pretty good hit there.
He played it well, but well, he's got another little tempter, but there's also an equally easy safety shot on here, isn't there? Thin off the right-hand side, lots of cover to be had down this end of the table. 5 and the 4 in the centre also, so...
Yeah, I like that call. These rotation players, especially Tyler's real good at thinning off the edge of the ball. He's so good through the cue ball. His accuracy is great. Now, don't get me wrong. I do believe he could spin that ball in to the top right. At the pace that they're going, I don't know that he'll do that. I think he's probably going to play your shot. He's really good at it.
No, he's chosen your shot. I told him, oh no, he's going back to my shot. Oh, he's betwixt and between. He's a bit like you and I, Scott. He's thinking of both shots. But he's going with your choice.
Yeah.
I told you Scott Frost was the man with all the answers.
Yeah, well, I can't fault him for shooting that. It was probably easier than it looked on our screen. And the way these balls lay, he had to come up with some type of position on the 2, so he made a great shot there. Maybe he's going to break and run like you called, as long as he doesn't overthink this or talk himself out of the situation.
Nice, easy combo. Just has to be a little bit careful here, doesn't he? Leave the 2-ball over the corner, of course, but needs to be careful of that cue ball. Maybe he's going to play it with a little bit more pace, Scott. Well, he's trusted himself and he's okay. He's played it well.
Yeah, I think this is the shot here. He lands on the 3 well for the left middle, maybe. If he doesn't quite get there, he can play it to the top left. If he gets on the 3, he's a heavy favorite to get out.
Well, he's messed that one up. He's made a pig's ear of it.
Yeah, so what's happened there is he put a lot of right on that ball with this fresh cloth. I don't think it came back like he thought it would. The swerve just kind of held its line. He caught it too thick. Cue ball caught that point, and the 4 is in play.
I'd like to have another look at that. I thought for the first time he's decelerated on that and he hasn't really attacked the cue ball. There you see, it was more of a little stab, wasn't it? I don't think he really... So the side reacted differently, Scott, because he didn't cue it as well as he could have done.
Yeah, and he did catch it thicker too, though. I don't think he wanted to hit it hard. He could have. It looked like he may have decelerated, but he wanted to catch it a fraction thinner. Catching that ball thick, he caught the point. So the English didn't even take after the point contact.
And that is my point as well, the fact that he didn't cue it well, which meant the cue ball reacted differently, and he's ended up catching it thicker. I don't think he cued it well. He's jumping the edge of this. Wow, good effort. Has he had a little bit of luck? No, he hasn't. Well, we thought we might see a break and run there, Scott, and really, to be honest, we should have done, shouldn't we, with the layout of the balls, but it's another one of those little positional errors, which you alluded to earlier. Not controlling the cue ball as well as he might.
Yeah, I mean, this is just one of those funny matches so far. It's just the way things are. The very next match, both of these guys could break and run 4 or 5. I mean, the equipment sets up for that. The format kind of sets up for that. So, I don't know. We'll see if something changes. Look at, he's playing a quicker pace. Maybe he's recognized that maybe he's in a stall mode or kind of lacking something. So maybe he's picked the pace up a little bit.
Well, maybe, Scott, when he had his little time out, he went and listened to some of our commentary and thought, yeah, Scott Frost is saying that I need to pick the pace up a bit. That's what I'm going to do.
Oh, beautiful. Yeah, he probably said Scott Frost is a one-pocket player. Let's listen to Mark. But he made quick work of this, right? He's made quick work of that, and that's what he needs to continue to do.
And what a different player he looked. None of this pointing the cue around, placing the fingers on the table and doing all these different measurements. Get down and pot the balls, Pijus. Pijus the potter.
Yeah, it's easy to get in that rut sometimes, and maybe that little break, like you said, he just kind of snapped out of it and said, listen, this is 9-ball on pretty big pockets. It's not rocket science, and I don't need to overthink it. We all get there. We all have been in that position.
Let's just go over the rack very, very quickly for you. We are playing 9 on the spot, 1 at the head, of course, as always, and the 2 is not allowed to be racked at the back. It can be racked anywhere else, of course, other than where the 1 and 9 are, but it cannot go at the back. And it's winner's break or winner's option, but of course they all opt to break, don't they? And Pijus Will leading 4-2. Here we go, rack number 7.
Yeah, well, Mark, once again, the 1 doesn't drop. He probably as close as he's been to making it. It just rattled out. Does Tyler have a shot at the 1?
He did make that adjustment, didn't he? He got very much closer, but he's still caught the bottom side of the side pocket. He hasn't got the 1 past the side pocket once. It's always been below.
Yeah, it's tough to tell from here. Yeah, can he even see all of it? That's really the question. If he can, I don't really know what else you do besides shoot, because it does carry position. He came with that long 9-ball, very reminiscent of this shot. Carries position if he can get it down. Doesn't look like he's going to shoot it.
I don't know what really he was looking at there. We can't see the angle as good as he can, of course. I'm not sure how much he's got even of this 1 ball, but if he has got enough of it, I mean, he fired that beautiful 9 in, didn't he, earlier on, but he's going with the push shot, so it's obviously a lot different than what we see.
Yeah, I don't mind this decision, right? Do you like the decision, Mark? He's trying to tie those balls up, but this 1 ball is tough to begin with.
I think that's a pretty smart shot. I mean, okay, he hasn't tied the 3 and the 4 up, but this is a real tester and not easy to get onto the 2 ball if he does go for it. And as you say, not a real easy safety shot on either. So I think he's got to go for this. I think he's got to go all in here.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think you can pass this up. He's got an open pocket. The cue ball will track between the 8 and 9. It's going to come somewhere out towards the center of the table. I don't think you play defense here. I think you have to attack. I was wondering if that's what he was setting up for. He's got a lucky rub off the 5.
Oh, that's a huge roll. Now, this is a typical example of where maybe normally you might jump this, but not on this occasion.
Yeah.
The pointing
I
stick
think
out.
Labutis was trying to catch that one a little thinner, I would assume. Because if he doesn't get the rub on the 5, Tyler's got a shot on that one. I'm a little surprised he didn't go with that.
I mean, out of the two players, Tyler does seem to be the more aggressive at the moment, and he's 4-2 down, so maybe there's something in it. My Pijus is playing the game he's playing.
Yeah, he definitely got a good rub off the 5 there. Otherwise, Tyler's got a good shot. But you're right, it's working.
Six ball not quite far enough over the side to play the one in the side, so he's going to have to come with some kind of safety unless he wants to take on the cross side bank. I don't think there's an aggressive shot on Scott, not that I can see.
Yeah, I think you're right. He might be able to play the one off the 6. I mean, it's going to take an accurate hit. It's hard to predict. This is just one of those matches that are definitely not easy to talk through with the way things are going. It looks to me like he's considering chipping the one. If not, he's playing it off the 6.
Well, didn't want that, but he would take it. Still got control of the table, hasn't he?
Do you bank at this? I think he's got to bank at this. It's a big pocket. It looks like it lays okay.
Yeah, it looks good to me. 2 ball in the vicinity as well. They're all on, Scott. There's nothing tied up. So you've got to put this down as a chance, haven't you?
Yeah, no doubt. Very clean. Three does pass, so he's going to probably use a little bit of a low left ball, 2 rails out above the 3 here.
Yeah, slide past the 5. Nicely done. I'm going to stick my neck out here, Scott, and say he's out here.
Yeah, I have to agree. Does seem like he's getting a bit more comfortable. His pace around the table's definitely quickened up a little bit.
I mean, you've been in this situation a lot of the times. I know you're mainly one pocket, but it still applies to that, I would think. So when you take a time out like they did just now, what are you going to the bathroom and what are you thinking about, Scott? Maybe you're going to go out and get a bit of fresh air. What goes through your mind during a time out?
Yeah, at these guys' level, they're evaluating what they've just done, right? And probably trying to pick off anything that they can improve on. And in rotation pool, typically at this level, a lot of times with what's happened is you can kind of get stuck in a certain mindset. And I think that Pijus is kind of like what you and I talked about, just almost slapped himself and said, listen, it's just a rotation game. Carry on with it, start to flow a little bit. And so far, his decisions have been pretty right on point.
I mean, just look at the way he's taken these last few balls. Absolutely pinpoint position, no thinking, just get down and making the balls. And that's the way this game should be played. And now he's got a nice lead here. And this is good stuff. Finally, both players coming to life. And now it's Pijus really taking control, but this time through aggression, Scott.
Yeah, and going back to the first shot of this last game, I don't think that Tyler did anything wrong with that push out. I actually felt like Pijus might have, made a little bit of a risky decision playing safe there because he left the one open, but it did work out for him. So things going his way, and that's the game. The balls know who is playing better typically. Oh, he switched sides here.
Yeah. Now, watch out for a golden break. Cue ball off the side rail. He made it into the side pocket, cut it straight into the side pocket yesterday. What's the chances of history repeating itself?
Yeah, well, I like the adjustment. He hasn't had any success from the other side. There, the one goes. Well, we know he's not going to shoot at this.
Are you sure?
No, I am not sure. What's the shot, Mark?
Well, I think he goes for it. I really do.
Where, to the top left?
Yeah, top left. This really could be a springboard. If he goes for this, it's going to tell me a lot about his mindset. I think he needs to carry on from where he left off. He's got Tyler in his seat. Try and keep him there. I mean, where's the good safety?
He could chip off of the left side of the two and come around and try and use the 6 and 7, or he could just roll forward and use the 5, or he could just chip the 2 and try and use the 3 as well as protection. I don't know. If he didn't shoot that 1 early on, I don't know how he shoots this.
It looks like he's playing up and down on the 2. Like you said, hiding in behind the 5. Has he got him?
Yeah, I think he's left a shot here.
Oh, Tyler is just going to nip out of the arena again. So we're going to nip out again. Scott Frost and myself, Mark White, will be back with a continuation very soon. Welcome back. Tyler just deciding to take just a little break. Maybe he was out listening to a bit of Scott's commentary as well. It worked for Pijus.
Boy, you say all the right things, Mark. I don't know. It's tough to call this match. Oh. This young man can knock this ball down. It could change things for him. Even though the 8 is tough, if he gets this down. Yeah, look at how powerful he hit that. He actually overhit it.
He's still okay. There's that lovely stroke that we were waxing lyrical about earlier. He really has got such a lovely technique and now needs to put it to good use. Run these balls out, get that great break going that he possesses, and get himself right back in this match.
Yeah, nice stroke there. And I think if he carries an angle on the 6, Mark, he can go into the back of the 9 and just nudge those balls, right? Just carry almost on the line that the 5 is now and just go one rail up towards the back of the 9 softly. You're going to have a shot on the 7.
I like that. I think that's what he's looking at as well. He's looking at where he wants to be on that 6 ball to do just that. May decide though to come all the way back. No, he's done what you said.
Just because it's pretty natural, right? I think he just maybe puts a touch of right on this ball, maybe a little bit of high right. Get through the ball well. Don't decelerate like we saw before. I don't see anything going wrong here. Nice.
Perfectly played. Just as you said, just as you described it.
Well, he's picking the pace up a little bit as well. We both kind of felt like they might work their way out of that rut. And we both also know how good these guys play, so I look forward to the rest of the match. Tyler dearly needs this game.
Yeah, the 8th rack. So we're now going to enter into the second half, and it really has been a game of two halves, hasn't it? The first half, well, almost missed that. A few days later, Scott, maybe that one doesn't go in on the newish cloth.
Yeah, that was a little questionable. He really did come with a good shot on the 2, but maybe a little quick there. That just gives you an idea of the pockets. That ball did get accepted, but like you say, a couple days from now, I don't think that falls.
But encouraging signs now from both players. I mean, he's even racking the balls quicker. You know, there just seems to be a bit more urgency about both of these players now. So I think we're in for a real good second half of this match. It's nicely poised as well. Get a break and run here. We're yet to have one. I think we're due one, Scott.
Yeah, I agree. They are both due for one. Tyler, interestingly, breaking from the same spot Labutis didn't have success from. Tyler did have success last time and had a cut on the 1. There goes the 1. Well, there goes the 5
three
and
balls.
the 3.
3 balls in the side. That's a trick. That's a trick shot. Mike Massey would be pleased with that one.
The hat trick.
Yes.
Well, now what?
Now. Oh, you've got to go aggressive, haven't you, here? Top left-hand corner. Bounce the cue ball off the side rail. 4 into the same pocket, maybe. Come on, Tyler. Get that stroke going.
Yeah, I really actually like that decision. I want him to shoot. You want him to shoot. You know, I can't fault him for playing the defensive play with the 7 being right there. The 9s also cover. But boy, you really want to carry on with where you left off. Pretty good control. I think he's got him.
There to the right of your screen, you might just have caught a glimpse of Shane Wolford there, Moscone Cup player. I've got a question for you, Scott. New team captains have been announced. Sky Woodward.
Yes.
And Jason Shaw. So if you're picking the team, who are you picking this year, or is it a little bit too early to say so?
Well, I mean, I really hope that Justin Bergman resurfaces at some point. I do think that Emily made in the beginning, and Emily and I are very upfront with each other. I was a little questionable about the decision, and now I really think the player captains is the way to go. I don't really know. I think Justin Bergman needs to come back. I really hope he does. But he's got to show interest as well, and he's got to play some events and prove that he's still meant to be there. Other than that, it's a little early.
I think the thing with Justin is, I mean, he's a name that comes up every single year. He should be in the team. He should be in the team. But to be honest, I mean, okay, I don't live in America, but I don't see him play ever. And I think it's a travel thing with him, isn't it? Does he not like traveling or something? Is that part of the problem?
Yeah, he's more of kind of a homebody type. He just, you know, he's so talented and so great at the game, but I don't know that he's fully interested in the game, right? He's just one of those guys that has to be in the mood to play. I know he doesn't like to travel. I don't know about traveling abroad. I've heard rumors that, he's possibly going to get back out and start playing, but I can't neither deny or confirm that. So what do you do here? See, here's another situation. Like, this ball is very cuttable with a center inside. You can check the cue ball up, come up and down, or at least you're coming towards the 4. You're behind 5-3. I think you definitely have to go here.
Yeah, and he might even get safe off it if it doesn't go. It's kind of a two-way. You've got to go for it. But he didn't play as a two-way. He's gone full-bloodedly for this. Needs to miss the 8 ball. He doesn't. Once again, we see that cue ball, Scott.
Yeah, and this is something I think that Tyler could recognize. He used an outside ball there. He's a rotation player. Most rotation players love the outside ball, but Tyler kind of stays away from the inside ball a little bit more than the next guy. I think if he checks that ball up, where he's coming towards the 4 with an inside or towards the 7 with an inside ball, his percentages of getting position are much better. He kind of went towards the cinch versus the position as well. Kind of got him in trouble.
He was always going to be in a little bit of danger, heading for traffic, wasn't it, over that right-hand side of the table, and did catch the 8 ball, and it's completely now changed this rack.
Yeah, and in his defense, a little unlucky, right, to come up with nothing good, but, I feel like he could have used an inside ball there and had a much better opportunity at position.
Yeah, another day he catches the 8 ball a little bit thicker and leaves himself a bank on the 4 ball. So it's one of them, isn't it?
Yes.
It's the game of pool. Very good hit, but needs that cue ball on the rail. It's not going to make it, and this is a definite chance then for the Lithuanian.
Yeah, does he have to go forward here? Looks like he does.
So.
I think he's going to have to go forward. Probably easier to make the ball as well. Oof.
He's played it nice. Played some left on it as well, Scott. What a shot that was.
Yeah, really well struck. His pace is definitely picked up. Probably a little stun here. 2 rails out with an outside ball, just like so.
And it's another one gone against Tyler Styer. It looks that way. It's going to be 6-3, back to 3 rack lead again. He'll be 2/3 of the way to the 9 needed, Scott. Things beginning to look a little bit troublesome for Tyler, the man from Oshkosh.
Yeah, I don't feel like he's extremely comfortable. The way he's striking the ball, as far as the English he's using and certain things, it just doesn't seem like he's fully comfortable.
Yeah, I just spotted something there as well. Tyler not even looking at his game. He was watching the other game. Whether that's something you players do sometimes, just to try and reset the mind maybe or something, but a little bit weird not to be watching the game you're playing. Maybe his mind's just not at the races, so to speak.
Yeah, it could be a little bit of a sign of frustration, maybe. I
can usually tell by Tyler Styer, he has this thing where he does redden, doesn't he, in the face as the pressure builds, and as he starts to spend a lot of time in that chair, his face visibly changes colour to very red when the pressure's on. I can't really see with the lighting at the Derby City. I wonder how he's feeling.
I also think you made a good point about neither of these guys have a loss, so sometimes you can really start to think about that a little too much and have that in the back of your mind. But look at this break. The 2 did fall, Mark, so the 3 is going to be a little difficult. But the adjustment he's made, switching sides, has proven to be pretty successful.
Yeah, and I'm a little bit surprised that Tyler hasn't experimented a bit more with the break. He's stuck to the side where Pijus was breaking from and not having any success. Pijus has changed and he's having all the success. He would have loved that 2 ball not to have dropped, but there was so much spin on it, wasn't there? As soon as it caught the point of the pocket, it spun it in. But he'd love it if that would have hung up, because this would have been more or less a formality to run this. Once again, though, the cue's out.
What's the shot, Mark?
I don't mind having a go at the bank shot, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't mind banking it, this one.
Yeah, I don't mind that shot either. That's not bad. The bank isn't bad. Well, hard to tell what he's thinking.
Really good shot.
Yeah, I actually like it. I agree. Not bad from where he was. Putting the pressure back on Tyler.
Yeah, he's made Tyler now have a little bit of a think, and now he has got to come with a shot here, hasn't he? So he's covered half of that ball, which is very, very important there. And this, as you say, isn't easy. Advantage once again to Pijus.
Yeah, and the problem is, Mark, if he decided to bank the 3 towards the 6, he's either got to go all out and hit that with a pace, or hit it easier if he wants to use the 7 as cover, maybe use the 5-8 as cover. Let's see what he decides.
He's going all in. He's gone all in.
That's what I was wondering. Yeah.
Oh, and that's pointing there. That's where his luck has been. But this time, his luck is a little bit different. He was kind of saying to everyone there,
yes,
well, up till now, I've been hooked on balls. Is it going to happen again this time? No.
Yeah. I don't know if that's the mindset you want to anticipate, but that's kind of how it's gone.
Well, I think it shows a lot of how he's actually thinking at the moment, you know. He's dwelling on shots from the past, in my opinion.
Absolutely right.
Look at that. It's such a beautiful stroke he's got. He looks like he can't miss when he strokes like that. But once again, Scott, it's that cue ball.
Yeah. I feel like he had a lot of places he could be, but he's over the 7 a little bit here, so he's making things much more difficult than he needs to. That ball was laying perfect to get closer to the 4. And this isn't easy, Mark.
No, I think he needs to shorten that stroke a little bit on the softer shots, you know. But he still likes to draw the cue all the way back, a bit like Chris Melling as well does. But he's come with an absolute corker there. What a cracking shot.
Yeah, what a clean hit that was. And that's how he gets away with it at times. Sometimes his patterns lack a little bit, but his ability and his fundamentals overcome it all too often.
I was just thinking, Scott, he's had some of the best technical coaches. I mean, Alex Lely as well is a well-renowned coach, not just technical wise, but also, on patterns and that kind of stuff. I'm just wondering if Tyler Styer wouldn't benefit from maybe spending time with, I don't know, somebody like Tony Robles or even Shane, learning a bit more off Shane. I know he's good friends with Shane. I mean, his patterns are just not great sometimes.
Yeah, I wonder if Tyler believes that Tyler's patterns are a little suspect at times. I think that's the first key, is coming to grips with yourself as far as where you can improve, and if he can allow himself to recognize that, then I think the next step is possible. Until then, who knows? But if we were to stand in front of Tyler and ask him if he thought his patterns could be a little better, I don't know what his answer would be.
Well, there's help for lots of kind of different conditions, of course, in the world. We've got AA for those that have a little bit of a problem with drinking, shall we say. But maybe we need not an AA, but a PA, a Patterns Anonymous, where you go and stand in front of all your peers and say, my name is Tyler Styer and I have a problem with patterns.
Well, I don't know if he even knows that, right? But it has been, and I'm probably going to get in trouble because Tyler and I talk a lot, but it's been common knowledge and discussed amongst players in the States, top players, that his patterns are a little bit suspect from time to time. So hopefully he takes that with a grain of salt, and boy, he's so talented that maybe he can improve in that category.
Well, you said it yourself. The first step is to admit that you actually have a problem, and then it kind of gets easier from there, just using the analogy, of course. Such a great talent, and I just think he really isn't getting the best out of that amazing technique he's got.
Yeah, I have to agree.
Who am I, Scott?
I do. No, I have to agree. I think a lot of us feel the same way, and it is what it is. I expect him to continue to grow. We all continue to grow. I'm 48, and I'm still learning. I wish I knew then what I know now. Of course, don't we all?
Oh, yes. Well, I've seen Tyler Styer at many, many tournaments over the years, Scott, and when he's warming up, a crowd will come and watch him warming up, and he's laughing and joking and having good fun and saying to the audience, come on, tell me a shot you want me to play. And he's drawing the cube all over the table. He's using side spin, playing some unbelievable shots. And then it comes to the match, and it's just a completely different person.
Yeah, he tends to tighten up a little bit. But I've seen the other side of him, too, when he's flowing. And, man, I don't know that anybody on the planet has to beat him when he's flowing and breaking well, and he's got a good mindset. But he continues to work himself out of trouble with his patterns during those periods, and that has to also be taxing. So could be good for him to hear this conversation.
One of my favourite players to watch when he's in full flow. I don't think there's many better sights. Him, Fedor Gorst, Chris Melling, those kind of players, the ones that are flowing. Ruiz, get that nice flowing action. Filler, don't think about it. Do what you're supposed to do. Pop balls, be confident.
Yes.
But all those other players I just mentioned have something that I believe Tyler doesn't have, and that's that cue ball on a string. His is almost a little bit on a bit of elastic sometimes, is a fair way to put it, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I think he relies a little bit too much on his shot making at times, and he does have a good cue ball if he just maybe works on it a little bit more. His shot making and his power Definitely one of my favorite players to watch as well. You just get the sense, though. This match to me feels like it's like more towards the finals. It feels like both of these guys are like trying almost a little bit too hard, if that makes any sense.
I feel the same. It's kind of like the round before the money. You know, you
Right.
get to the next round and you're in the money and you can start to relax and play your game a little bit. But this is only round 6 and it's the Derby City Classic. And we know you've got to win about 15, 16 rounds, isn't it, to lift the trophy here.
That's exactly right. It is 15 to probably 17 rounds. Gonna come 2 rails here. Oh, 3. One rail straight up here. I don't think there's much involved. Maybe a tip of right. Just a tip, kind of a high cue ball there. Just going to carry the line. Avoid the 9. Don't need to get too steep on the 7.
A little bit of right indeed. Needs another nice stroke though. Do you draw straight back off this one?
Yeah, I think you can. He's got a little bit of an angle. I don't know if he can hold or not. Maybe go to the rail. I can't quite tell. I think he can just hold over near the right middle. Yeah, like so. Well, Mark, he's definitely not going anywhere, is he?
He's not. He's going to be within 1 and breaking. Can he get that break working though? Not a sentence you normally say when you're talking to Styer. Can he get the break working? He normally is one of the great parts of his game. Now, I've just thought of a player, Scott, who I liken the career of to Tyler Styer's. He's a little bit older, okay, but Jeffrey DeLuna, I think, is a good comparison to Tyler Styer. Great cue action, great breaker, but sometimes a little bit too flamboyant. Plays some, shall we say, questionable shots every now and then. And Jeff DeLuna, as we know, has never snapped off a really big tournament. He's been to a final before, but he's never, ever won a big tournament. And I think that could be part of it.
Yeah, it's a pretty good comparison. I don't think Tyler is intentional with his, with his long shots and coming with tough shot after tough shot. I think it's just something that he's gotten used to and might not realize it's what gets him in trouble at times. I think, I really think he and I might have a conversation after this comes out, and I'd just like to know what he feels about our assessment.
Oh, he has made the wing ball there.
Yeah, and this is also a story, right? He broke pretty good the time before and didn't attack. He played safe. Here he's made the wing ball and he's got nothing, Mark.
Yeah, he wants to get this rack out of the way, so needs the work of a couple of skilled surgeons to get that one out with the necessary ball markers. While I was in China recently, Scott, they've got these amazing ball markers where they've got, if you could imagine, so the normal ball marker, but then they slide something over the top. Part of it is slides over the top of the rack and marks the ball, so it doesn't get snagged on the rack. Very, very good invention. I was trying to bring one back from China with me. I think the referees, they'd be kind of a good thing for the refs in America to have as well. They really are a good little gadget.
What you would put this spot over the rack, you're saying?
Yeah, so you put the let's say, right, so you put the base of it where the cue ball is now, maybe a little bit closer, but right, sort of where that is, and then you could slide the top part of this marker, slide it over to touch the 9 ball, and then you could then take the 9 ball away, and then the marker's not in the way, because you then just take the rack off, and you can do it with 2 balls, so the referees have 2 of them in their pockets at once, so they could basically just put the base of the marker outside that rack, but still mark the balls and just take the rack away. Really is a genius invention.
Yeah, that's genius for sure.
See, that would alleviate all this problem. Come on, guys. Get that in motion, Scott. You're the man with the pulling pull.
Yeah, I don't know about
See
that.
what
It looks
I mean?
like they're doing
see,
all
now
right.
Look. Yeah, he's put that, though, actually on the rack, you see.
Yeah.
I think that is one of those... Perhaps that is one of the sliders.
Yeah, it looks like it, because he went over the rack.
Yes, there you go. He's got one. They were a lot higher, though, the ones I saw in China. Well played. I wouldn't mind him performing heart surgery on me with those hands as dexterous as they are.
I'm just trying to figure out. I didn't think they were frozen.
Yeah, it's pretty good. That's okay.
Well, after all of that, what is the shot? He's obviously got to roll out.
Well, he seems in good mood, Scott, doesn't he? He's laughing and joking with the ref and seems pretty cool.
Yeah, that's good to see. I think he's got to get up table somewhere, yeah.
Could he really thin off the 3 ball and tie it up with a 7 and take the cue ball up? He looks like he's just going straight, leaving distance.
Yeah, I don't mind that. Tyler is really, really good at edging the ball, so he's put Pijus in a position where he's got to try and edge the left side of this 1. The hit is not easy, and I think Tyler's thought ahead here and knows that he's probably a favorite to clip that 1 real clean, where it could be tougher for the man at the table.
Very good point you make there. We said right at the beginning of this particular match, Scott, how important the push-out can be and how you do play with the intention that you will get it back. So you've got a shot in mind, and he's left a shot for himself. Should he get it back, Tyler, that he's very confident in playing. So it's a smart push. And also that adds pressure to Pijus, because Pijus also knows that Tyler's good at that shot, right? So he's thinking twice about putting him back in.
Yeah, exactly. And then take a look at Tyler right now. He's dialed back into the game, right? And so you can kind of feel a little bit of a shift in the energy with these 2 guys. Tyler's really clawed his way back into this match.
Just 1 rack behind. We could be back all square in a race to 3 very, very soon. And he has given it back to Tyler. So we're going to see some of that thinning, straight cueing.
Yeah, definitely not easy. Labutis did not want to give it back. right? But hitting this accurately, even for a player like Tyler, not easy. I'm trying to figure out what he might be considering.
I think he's just looking to see if he thins it, where he can put where he wants the cue ball to strike the. Oh, he's looking at maybe springing the one ball over and bringing the cue ball down behind that wall of balls. I don't know what he's playing.
Yeah. Felt like he was going to edge the left side of this one. You could come around and use the 6.
Yeah. He's looking to squirt this one ball over to the right-hand rail. He's going with pace here. He's seen something. Well, I don't know what he's played
Well, he's
there.
lucked
He hasn't
the
played
9, Mark.
the double bank. He's lucked the 9 in. I think he might have played it, you know. I wonder, did he play that?
No, there's no way. He had a little shake of the head like he didn't play that. I think he thought the 9 might twist into the top corner, though. It's a different look from here. But you understand what I'm saying? I think he thought it might twist all the way up to that corner up there, and he doubled it in. Neither here nor there. We're all tied up.
Yeah, we call it, well, you can call it throw, or what's the other word as well when you're squeeze.
Yeah.
Squeeze is the word we use. You're squeezing the ball over. So yeah, he could have been playing that as well, Scott. But as you say, we're all level 6-6 now. You kind of make Tyler Styer the favourite. We wouldn't have been saying that about 30 minutes ago.
Yeah, big break here for Styer. He needs to get a shot after the break. Well, he needs to get a ball down.
Well, I'd like to bring up something very interesting, if you don't mind, Scott. Now, you're used to commentating on all the Matchroom events. Now, this is a Matchroom ranking event as well this year, the 9 ball. They've gone with the break box, but they haven't marked it on the table. And I'm just wondering, is that a reason that most of the players I've watched so far are struggling with the break? Normally with the Derby City, and I know it's still in the rules, says that the break box is between the first and the third diamonds, but of course the actual Matchroom break box is much smaller than that, because the lines are drawn from the first and the third diamonds down to the pyramid spot right where the 9 is now, and then wherever that line crosses on the kitchen line, that's where the box is drawn. There's no box drawn on these tables, and I'm just wondering, this is the 4th match I've commentated on now, is that got some little bearing? There you see, right on cue, there's the drawing, that's how they do it, the break box, but it's not marked out on the table here at the Derby City Classic.
Yeah, well, neither of these guys are actually exposing that, though. I think they're so far in, they're actually more close to that center diamond than they are the outside, the right or left diamond. I don't think it's affecting either one of these guys, but I totally understand your point. A little bit surprised that they aren't out further with the cue ball, both of these guys, but they've stayed pretty similar on each side, almost in the line where the 6 is now. But getting past that, Labutis seems to be moving pretty quick.
We've still not had a break and run, I don't think, Scott, which is unbelievable considering, you know, we've got 2 players who are pretty close in Fargo. Pijus, Labutis, just 4 points away from the 800 club. And then now he's just 2 racks away from a place in round 7. And Tyler Styer might be getting another $100 bill out of his pocket to buy back in again. They've just gone out for another break, and we're going to do the same. Scott Frost and myself will be back very, very soon. Welcome back to the Derby City Classic. We're playing the 9-ball division, of course. Tyler Styer locked in this, well, I wouldn't call it enthralling, but it's certainly, well, it's thrilling, isn't it? Because it's so close. And now, just as we think both players are getting some kind of rhythm, some little positional shot goes wrong and it makes it, another safety battle ensues, and then the players lose their stroke. The break hasn't been working for either with any consistency at all. And Scott Frost with me in the booth. Well, Pijus somehow 7-6 up, Scott.
Yeah, interesting dynamics for sure this match. Pijus finally gets a shot on the one that game and ran out rather quickly, right? But to your point, it just seems like one of those matches where nothing's clicking for either side just when you think it's going to. Wow. The 1 missed the side, but the 2 tracks to the top right, the 7 in the right middle, and he's got a good shot, Mark. I don't want to jinx it, but he's got a chance to get out.
Well, yeah, you couldn't wish for, okay, the 1 ball. If the 3 was anywhere else, it might be a bit of a problem, but it lays really nice, doesn't it? 5 ball, okay, is a little bit tricky to get on, but the 4 is nearby, so that shouldn't be a problem either. But already he's looking at potential problems. Are there any, Scott?
Yeah. Well, I feel like maybe if he just carries an angle maybe above that right middle to the 4, he can cut the 4 in the lower left and come into the back of the 6 at worst if the 5 doesn't play cleanly. And I guess we will find out now, depending on where he ends up on this 4. But it looks at this angle like the 5 goes. Hard to really tell. We're not at the table.
Left himself a really nice angle on this 3. He can go anywhere he wants with a cue ball. And the way he was looking, Scott, he's looking to come towards that 4, like you said, leave the cut on it. Doesn't want to go too far.
Wow.
Well, that's...
Yeah, the 5 better go now. Any possibility of coming behind the 6 or opening these balls up is gone.
And it looks pretty straight from the angle I first saw. He's going to have to draw back, so he's got to dig down here. And always chance of getting a bit of unwanted English, but he's played it well, I think. He's okay. May just nudge into the 6 here, will he? Draw into it, stun into it kind of thing. Oh, he's shaking his head.
Yeah.
Well, he wants somebody to look at this, Tyler. Well, I've never seen this before.
Yeah.
I've never seen this before. Getting his phone out and he's going to record the shot.
Yeah, he's going to slow motion the shot. Well, they do it in the States quite a bit, actually, Mark. They use slow motion.
Ah, do they?
But yeah, I didn't feel like that situation called for it personally, but I don't know.
Tyler's just used a bit of unnecessary battery life on his iPhone there.
Yeah. Could it be, Mark, the first break and run of the match?
Well, we've waited till frame 14 for it, Scott. You would never predict that, would you? At the start of a match between these 2.
Yeah, I wonder what the odds would be if you said after 14 games there was no break and runs. But there is one.
Hallelujah. In it goes. Pijus is now on the hill and breaking. So, Scott, I have to ask you, I hope you're enjoying life on the road. Come on, Pijus, the 9 doesn't go there, mate. He's sticking. He wants to finish on a golden break. Look, he's put it as the wing ball. I bet he breaks for. I bet he breaks from the right hand side as we look. Do you know what? This happened in.
Is Tyler going to say anything?
Yeah, I think you said something now. No, it wasn't. It was in the first match I commentated on. It was Brandon Schuff against Dave Matlock, I think it was, from memory. And he did exactly the same. And he put the 8 ball as the 9 ball when he was racking them in the very first match of this year's Derby City Classic. Yeah. Anyway.
Yeah, pretty funny. You got to give it to the man at the table. He's kicked it up a notch last couple games. And with the break, continues to lead him astray.
Has that very long pause at the cue ball, doesn't he?
Yeah, he does. He's got to stay aggressive here. You agree?
Oh, you have to. I mean, where's the safety? There's no real easy safety. He could kick and stick it, I guess, if he wants to go defensive. That's the only real defensive option I see. But surely he has to go at this, especially where the 2 ball is as well.
Yeah, he's overcut it.
Once again, Scott, we see that big backswing. He'd done very, very short feathers there. I thought he's going to go with a slightly less of a backswing, but he didn't. It was the full backswing, and he did overcut the ball again.
Yeah, he might be feeling a little bit of the pressure.
Yeah, could be.
I don't see a lot of trouble here. I think he can punch 1 rail up if he misses the 8, right? To the left long rail. He doesn't seem to like it, so the 8 must be a big ball here.
Good stun round. You're right, Scott. He did catch that 8 ball, didn't he?
Yes, he did.
What do you do here, Scott? Do you go to get on the right-hand side rail to get on the 4, or do you try and play for the gap between the 9 and the 7? Or you come short side? What are you playing here?
Yeah, I don't mind that call, but, well, this is too hard.
There's the problem. There you see. Oh, I saw that coming, you know, Scott. I really did see it coming.
Yeah, I'm a little surprised at the pace that he played that, because the only way you could go wrong is overhitting it.
Well, we're not going to see a break and run here. May have the thinnest of edges on it.
Yeah, I'm trying to feel like it's closer than we think. Like he could almost swerve around the 7, but it's just, the 7's so close to the cue ball, and the 4 is so close to the 7 that Andy's stretched out that I don't think it's, you see how he's looking at it. It tells me that the swerve could almost be available.
Might kind of throw it in kind of thing as well, yeah? Can he get the cue ball bending quick enough, but also get back in quick enough? That's the problem, isn't it?
Right.
It's going to throw out to the right as we look. and then he needs it to come back over to the left quite soon. But as you say, the relation of the 3 balls doesn't allow that.
And the way he cued that ball tells me that's not even what he's considering. Well, of course, there had to be drama towards the end.
It was never going to be easy, was it?
No.
Both players will know they've been in a match when this one is over, regardless of what happens now. Oh, that's turned into a very poor shot. Misjudged it, trying to get behind the 8, wanted a thicker contact. Tyler still in this one, Scott.
Yeah, I don't know if that shot was ever there, Mark, as far as how steep it was. To get the speed on the 4 and hold the cue ball, I don't know if that shot was really ever there. Big error, so big opportunity for Styer. Really, even a little firmer than he wanted to be there. Once again, seemed like he's overpowered the ball. He's going to be okay, but I think he's going to have to draw straight back past the 7, unless he can cheat this.
He's drawing straight back. Played it beautifully. There's that cue out. He's overdrawn it, but it's okay. Anywhere past the 6 is fine. Just to use a rail now, though.
Yeah, very well handled. Little outside ball. He excels with that outside ball. He really does. He likes to use it almost every shot. He loves that low cue ball as well.
Yeah, for some reason, the inside, which a lot of rotation players, as you said, don't really like using as much as the outside, and I think it may have something to do with the new cloths. I've heard it from a lot of players, Scott. Especially when, you know, bouncing off a rail, it doesn't really grab as much because you're trying to make the ball go against the way it wants to go rather than with the flow, the natural angle of the ball wants to follow.
Yeah, absolutely. And less skid options when you're using outside ball. I mean, but there are times where that inside is a must. A lot of guys will avoid it.
Well, this was always going to be close. Rack 15 will go to the man from Michigan. I believe Oshkosh is in Michigan, isn't it? Scott, am I right?
I believe he's from Wisconsin.
Oh, Wisconsin. Do you know, I always get them 2 places mixed up. I'm sorry, Tyler.
Yeah, it's all right. You get a pass. You're not from the States, pal. You're good.
And it's a good time to remind you guys, if you're enjoying this, please like the stream and subscribe to our channel. And if you give that little bell a little click with your mouse every time something new is uploaded from Railbirds TV, you'll get to know first. And then you can click on that and while away the hours looking at some classic Derby City games, some tournaments from all over the States, and there's even a bit of artistic pool on there for you to enjoy as well. So you've got no excuse. Just subscribe, like, and hit the bell. Thanks, guys. We really appreciate it. And it also helps us, of course, bring you all this lovely free pool. Who doesn't love a bit of free pool? Trying to get then Back to Hill. Styer with a break.
He's still breaking from the same spot, Mark. And once again, he's not got the one down. He's scratched. That's going to hurt.
Oh, that's disastrous. I heard a ball down. I was looking to see where the cue ball was, and that was the ball that went down.
Just seems like this entire match, his timing on the break hasn't quite been there. When he did make a ball or two, he didn't get a good shot. I don't see a lot of trouble here. He's got to get to the 3. Once he gets to the 3, he looks like he's pretty much home free. A little weak there, just a little. I think he wanted more angle.
Yeah, he wanted at least another 2 or 3 inches, didn't he, on that cue ball to make this next positional shot a lot easier. As you said in the last rack, Scott, we don't expect it to be easy, do we? And straightforward.
No. Never is.
Oh, he's played this. Oh, he wanted some right hand spin on it. Didn't get any. And, well, as has been the case all the way through this match, it's another positional error. This time, here's Labutis. We could be seeing Tyler coming back to the table. Well, we're definitely going to see Tyler back to the table, barring a miracle.
Yeah, and this is like par for the course, right? He had ball in hand on the 1. They both struggled off and on all match. Doesn't get the angle he wants on the 2. He's forced to go forward. It looks like he just kind of hit a flat ball there, Mark, versus a tip of right. I thought that ball might spin out towards the center, and it just stayed flat. Now, big trouble.
Well, this is a must hit, isn't it? And, well, you're trusting to luck as well. All you're looking to do here is get a really good hit on this 3 ball and hope.
Wow.
Maybe you get lucky.
I don't even know how you hit this ball. He is glued to the 8. It looks to be like he's glued to the 8.
Well, I'm going 3 rails here, Scott. I'm coming down this way. I'm coming this rail, the bottom rail now as we look, then the short rail over to the side rail and kick it into the top or the bottom right-hand corner as we look in there. See? That's the way to go.
Oh, it sounds good.
A little bit of
sounds
right hand.
Good. I wonder, is the 4 in the way at all there, though?
I think you can just miss it.
Really? It's close. Just because the 3 is up so high.
Yeah, he doesn't like it. He has looked at it and he probably thought the same as you. I'm going to go into the 4 ball here. I'm a left-hander. I'd be downplaying this already.
Yeah, same here.
Oh, he's tight. Well, that's... What has he done there? It's not even... Oh...
Well, that's how bad it was, Mark. He was glued to the back of that 8. He was elevated coming anywhere from the top side of the table. He just tried to put the 8 in front of the 5 to make things a little tougher on Styer.
It still has a few pockets though, doesn't it, the 5 ball? He's only kind of... Okay, he's made the positional side of it more difficult. But once again, it was a positional error from Pijus Labutis, which has caused the problem here.
Yeah, so what he's looking at here is coming 2 rails behind the 5. I don't mind that. That's okay. That looks pretty safe, right? I don't think there's any way to get snookered going that route. Now he's looking at this route. Tells us the 5 clearly doesn't play in the right middle. Jason Shaw would have been on the next table by now. Some guys very fluid.
He would have been up.
Some guys very technical.
Yeah. Surely he's not, is he? Well, I thought he was thinking of playing the hook behind the 7 and opening up the 5 there for a second. Is he overthinking this, Scott?
Yes, yeah, he is. But I think that's kind of been the tone of this match, right? I can't blame him or fault him. I know it's an important moment, obviously, but I feel like he already naturally knows what he wants to do. I'm trying to understand what he's doing there or where he wants to be.
I mean, he's got a huge area near where his hand is. He can go up anywhere near there. He can play it down here for the 5. Well, he's not gone to move this. Well, that's, to me, that is, and I hope he doesn't take offence at this, but, you know, that's typical Tyler in my eyes. Making a problem that wasn't there. Why has he gone to move that ball? Why on earth would you play that shot there, Scott?
No, and I have to fully agree. I liked his first decision coming on the left side of the 4 where you're coming up behind the 5, and if you don't get where you need to be on the 5, just play safe. You can't force the issue. He might come with this shot, but that's how he gets himself in trouble, just like you said.
If he does, all is forgiven. But it was still the wrong shot, and he's hung it, and there's a good chance now it's cost him this match.
Yeah, and this is why Tyler's such a good shot maker, right, Mark? He's such a good shot maker because he continues to put himself in spots maybe he shouldn't quite be in, but, you know, over time that gets really heavy.
At the end of the day, Scott, we never pop all the balls, do we? There's always one too many.
Exactly.
The pressure of being 8-7 behind as well. There's just huge pressure on that shot, and he shouldn't have been where he was in the first place.
And it continues to seem funny with these guys. This ball so deep that he's probably concerned if he goes rail first at either missing it or catching it too thin and losing the cue ball. I don't know if he can hit it and draw out. It looks to me like he is. Okay. What do they say overseas? They're milking it a little bit. Was he milking it a little bit there, Mark?
Yeah, that's something that Carl Boys would say for sure. He's milking he's milking the moment. He's getting the most out of it, trying to make the shot look a bit more difficult than it actually is.
Yeah, it's been an interesting match. I really enjoyed doing this with you. I think he's going to get out here, but I wonder if Tyler will revisit this match or even watch it. If he does, I hope he doesn't take anything personal, but I'd love to talk to him about it down the road.
Well, I hope you do. And Pijus, although he hasn't been milking it, he's certainly got plenty of bottle when it matters. And he's going to hold his nerve to run out this very difficult match, and both players will know they've been in a match. Now, what shot is he going to try again? What shot is he going to practice here? The 5 ball that he just missed. Look, that's the one he's going to go for. Wasn't quite that difficult, I don't think, Scott. Anyway, it's been an absolute pleasure as always. Scott Frost and myself in the booth. Thank you so much, Scott. Pijus moves
Thank
on
you.
to round 7. Tyler gets his 100 quid out. Get that Benjamin Franklin out, and we'll see him, I'm sure, later on in the tournament as well. Thank you so much for watching, guys. Don't forget, like, subscribe. We'll see you for the next one. Take care. Ta-ta.
Table 14 will be Josh Robinson, Shane Wolford. Robinson.